Think of someone with a big idea, something exciting, fresh, and full of potential, but they don't act. Fear of failure keeps them stuck, second-guessing every move. What if it doesn't work? What if people judge? What if everything falls apart? This fear is common. It stops people from chasing dreams, starting businesses, or even speaking up. In today's fast-changing world, many feel it, especially when leaving stable jobs, launching something new, or sharing their ideas. But fear doesn't have to win. Stoicism offers practical tools to face it. This ancient philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control, our choices, actions, and mindset, and let go of the rest. As Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Failure isn't the end, it's part of the process. NASA's Mars missions, Elon Musk's journey, and countless others prove this. Every mistake teaches something vital. The Stoics used simple practices like visualizing setbacks, showing gratitude, and building discipline. These helped them stay calm, focused, and brave. This guide gives you 35 of those strategies, clear, powerful ways to face fear, act with purpose, and move forward with confidence. With the right mindset, failure becomes a teacher, not a wall. So write it down now, and let's begin. Number 1. Shrink your fear by changing your perspective. Stop, breathe, and look around you. You're afraid. You feel stuck. You don't know if you'll succeed or if you'll mess it all up. That fear in your chest, it feels big, heavy, like it owns you. But let me ask you something. Have you ever tried to see your fear from far away? Have you ever stepped outside your head, looked at yourself from a distance, and asked, is this really that big of a deal? The Stoics had a way of doing that. They called it the view from below, a simple shift in perspective that changes everything. It means zooming out from your current situation. Zooming out until you see the truth, that your fear is not as big as it pretends to be, that most of the things you worry about will not matter in the long run, that you are stronger than your fear because you can observe it. So, do it now. Picture yourself from above, you standing in your room, on your street, in your city. Now, zoom out again. Picture the earth. Picture your small corner of it. How small is your fear now? How big is your failure now? In the grand scheme of things, is it really that terrifying? Or is it just a moment, a blip in a much bigger picture? You see, fear feels huge when you're too close to it. It fills your vision. It clouds your mind. But when you step back, when you create distance, you gain clarity. You see that fear is just a thought, a guess, a prediction, and most of the time, it's wrong. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He reminded himself often that he was just a small part of the universe, that his problems, his pressures, even his pain, were temporary and small compared to the vastness of life itself. He wasn't minimizing himself. He was freeing himself. Because when you realize how little control you have over the world, you also realize that fear doesn't deserve the control it has over you. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of today? Say it out loud. Then step back, zoom out. Will this matter a year from now? Will it matter in 10 years? Will it matter when you're at the end of your life, looking back at the chances you didn't take? No, it won't. So why let it own your mind now? Try this next time fear creeps in. Pause. Close your eyes. Visualize the earth. Picture yourself on it, small but still standing. Then look at your fear. Watch it shrink. Watch it lose its grip. This is not about denying your fear. It's about shrinking it down to its real size. The fear of failure, the fear of being judged, the fear of falling short. It only grows because you let it sit too close to your heart. Push it back. Put it in perspective. Most people never do this. They let fear scream in their face and they obey. But you won't. Not anymore. From now on, when fear shows up, you will respond with a new habit. Distance. You will not react. You will reflect. You will zoom out. And then you will act. Not because the fear is gone, but because it is no longer in charge. This is the mindset of someone who moves forward. Someone who refuses to be ruled by anxiety or self-doubt. This is what makes you strong, not because you don't feel fear, but because you see through it. So remember this: when your mind makes a problem feel too big to handle, shrink it. Don't shrink yourself. Shrink the fear. Look at it from above, from a distance, from the eyes of someone who knows they have one life to live and no time to waste running from imaginary battles. Every time you zoom out, you gain strength. Every time you put your fear in its place, you rise. That's the power of the view from below. Use it, trust it, and take your next step with clarity. Number 2, see every challenge as training, not punishment. Let's be real. Life hits hard sometimes. You try your best, and still things go wrong. People let you down. Plans collapse. You fail even when you gave everything. And when that happens, it's easy to ask, why me? It's easy to feel like life is against you, like you're being punished. But the Stoics saw it differently. They believed you are not being punished, you are being prepared. You are not a victim, you are a student. You are not cursed, you are being tested. Life is not doing this to destroy you. Life is doing this to build you. Imagine this. You are the universe's test subject. Every challenge that comes your way is a custom-designed lesson, crafted just for your growth. Not to break you, but to shape you, to make you better, stronger, wiser. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That wasn't just a nice quote. It was how he lived. When something hard happened, he didn't ask, "Why me?" He asked, "What is this training me for?" And you must do the same. Every hard moment is an opportunity. When you fail, it's training for humility. When you're rejected, it's training for resilience. When you're judged, it's training for confidence. When you're delayed, it's training for patience. When you're afraid, it's training for courage. You are in the arena. Life throws the punches not to knock you out, but to make sure you can take them and keep moving. So next time something goes wrong, don't say, "This isn't fair." Say, "This is the test." And remember, nobody grows strong in comfort. Comfort makes you soft. Difficulty makes you sharp. You want to conquer fear of failure? Then you need to stop seeing failure as the enemy. Start seeing it as a coach, a lesson, a drill designed to make you unshakable. This mindset changes everything. You stop reacting like a victim. You start responding like a warrior. You stop breaking down. You start building up. And every time you get hit, you say, "Good, let's go again." Epictetus, another great Stoic, said, "Difficulties show what men are." That means the test reveals the truth, not to others, to you. You find out what you're made of when the pressure is on. And if you don't like what you see, good. Now you know what to work on. You grow by facing the test, not avoiding it. So the next time something goes wrong, smile. Not because you enjoy pain, but because you know it has purpose. Say to yourself, I was chosen for this. Say, I'm being prepared for something greater. Say, let's see what I'm made of. This is the Stoic way, to turn every challenge into fuel, to face life like a soldier on a mission, not a tourist on vacation, to treat every hard thing not as punishment, but as preparation. You are the cosmic test subject. You are the one being trained. And the only question is, will you pass the test? Will you rise above the fear, or will you let the test defeat you before it even begins? You already know the answer. You were made for this. So when the next challenge comes, don't flinch. Don't ask why. Just square your shoulders, breathe deep, and say, let the test begin. Number 3, focus only on what's yours to command. Look at your day. Look at your thoughts. How much time do you spend worrying about things you can't control? Be honest. You stress over what people will think. You replay conversations in your head. You fear how things might turn out. You try to control the future, the outcome, the reaction, everything. But here's the truth. That's not your job. The Stoics had a rule, one that cuts through fear like a knife. It's called inverted control. And it means this: you stop trying to control what's outside you, and you double down on what's inside you. You flip the way you think about control. You invert it. Because real strength is not found in trying to shape the world. It's found in shaping yourself. Epictetus said it simply: some things are up to us, and some things are not. That's the line. That's the boundary. And crossing that line, trying to control the uncontrollable, is where stress, anxiety, and fear are born. Let's make it clear. You don't control the weather. You don't control what other people say. You don't control if the world applauds or criticizes. You don't control the outcome, but you do control your effort. You control your thoughts. You control your attitude. You control your response. That's where your power lives. Right there. Fear of failure grows when you confuse what's yours with what isn't. You fear trying because you think the outcome defines you, but it doesn't. What defines you is your action, your courage, your discipline, not the result. So let go of the rest. Let go of what happens next. Let go of whether you succeed or fail. Let go of how people react. All of that is outside the line. You're not weak for letting go. You're wise. This is what the Stoics knew. When you try to control everything, you end up controlling nothing. But when you focus only on what's within your reach, you become powerful, steady, clear. This is what inverted control teaches you. It says, flip the focus. Don't ask, how do I make this work? Ask, what can I do today that is fully mine to do? Then do it, with full heart, with full strength, without needing applause or reward. When you start a project, don't cling to the outcome. When you speak your truth, don't try to control who agrees. When you train, study, grow, don't obsess over the scoreboard. Let all of that go. It's not yours. The action is yours. The mindset is yours. The effort is yours. And that's more than enough. The Stoics weren't trying to win over the world. They were trying to win over themselves. That's the only victory that lasts. The only one you truly own. So when fear creeps in, when your mind starts racing with what-ifs and worst-case scenarios, pause. Draw the line. Ask, is this mine to control? If the answer is no, drop it. If the answer is yes, focus fully. This simple practice will give you peace. More than that, it will give you power. Because now, You're not wasting energy on shadows. You're not chasing things that aren't yours. You're not burning out trying to fix what isn't broken. You're centered. You're focused. You're in command of what really matters. This is not a trick. It's not wishful thinking. It's training, daily mental discipline. And it works. So take this idea and live it. Write it down. Remind yourself often, what is mine to control? And every time fear rises, answer that question. Then act on that, and only that. That's how you move forward with strength. That's how you become unshakable. Number 4, let go of labels and free yourself to grow. Who are you? Really, who are you when no one's watching? Are you the title on your resume? The follower count on your profile? The role you play at work, at home, in your circle? Or are you something deeper, something that doesn't change every time the world does? The truth is, most fear comes from trying to protect an identity. You're afraid to fail, not just because of the result, but because failure threatens how you see yourself. Or worse, how others see you. But here's the thing, that identity, it's made up, it's fragile, and most of it isn't even yours, it's borrowed. The Stoics knew this. They understood that the more attached you are to your image, your status, your ego, the more fear will control you. And the more you can detach from labels, the freer you become. This is identity suspension, the practice of letting go of who you think you are so you can become who you actually are. Let's break it down. You say, I'm a winner. Sounds good, until you lose. You say, I'm a leader. But what happens when you make a mistake? You say, I'm smart. But then you mess up, and suddenly you're shattered. See the trap? When your identity is built on fragile labels, failure feels like death. You don't just fail at something, you feel like you failed at being someone. And that's the kind of fear that paralyzes. So, what's the answer? You let go. You suspend the identity. You stop trying to be someone and start focusing on doing the work. You stop protecting your image and start sharpening your character. You stop proving and start improving. Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. In other words, stop trying to look like the thing, just be the thing. You don't need to tell the world who you are. You just need to show up and act like it. This doesn't mean you don't have values. It means your values aren't tied to status. They're tied to actions. You are not a successful person. You are someone who works hard today. You are not a fearless leader. You are someone who chooses courage in this moment. You are not a Stoic. You are someone practicing resilience right now. See the shift? You go from being fragile to being fluid. You go from holding on to moving forward. You go from fearing failure to learning from it. Because if you don't need to defend a title, you don't need to fear losing it. And that frees you. Suspend the identity. Be the student, always. Every time you try something new, release the need to be good. Every time you fall, release the shame of not living up to the label. Every time you face fear, release the story of who you should be, and just respond with action. This isn't about lowering standards, it's about raising the bar for honesty. You don't need to be impressive, you need to be real, focused, committed to the work. That's where growth lives, that's where fear fades. So the next time your mind says, "What will people think of me if I fail?" answer it with this: I'm not here to protect an image, I'm here to practice a principle. Let go of the costume, step into the truth. You are not a brand. You are a human being, learning, growing, moving forward. That's enough. And that's how you beat fear. Not by pretending to be more, but by releasing the need to pretend at all. Number 5. Provisional life mindset. Stop waiting. Start living. How many times have you said to yourself, "I'll do it later," or "It's not the right time yet"? How many days, weeks, or even years have slipped through your fingers while you waited? For the perfect moment, for more confidence, for some sign that now is finally the time to begin. You might not realize it, but this mindset, the quiet belief that your real life hasn't started yet, is one of the biggest traps holding you back. The Stoics knew it well. They called it living in a provisional life, a life where everything is temporary, everything is on pause, and nothing truly begins. You keep pushing your purpose, your goals, your courage into the future. You live like this moment is just practice, like the real thing is still on its way. But it's not. This moment right now, this day, this hour, this version of you, is the real thing. This is your life. It's not a test. It's not a draft. There is no dress rehearsal. You don't get a second chance at today. The longer you wait, the more you lose. You think you're being smart, being patient, waiting for the right timing, but all you're really doing is training your mind to delay, to hesitate, to doubt. And hesitation feeds fear. The longer you avoid action, the heavier your fear becomes. The task seems bigger, the failure seems more dangerous, and the idea of starting feels impossible. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, warned us, "It's not that life is short, it's that we waste much of it." What he meant was this: life gives us enough time, but we use it wrong. We keep pushing our dreams to later. We build our lives around waiting. We expect that someday we'll wake up fearless, ready, complete, but that day doesn't come unless we decide to act. You don't need to feel confident to begin. You need to begin to feel confident. You don't need to wait until everything is perfect. You need to move while things are still uncertain. Growth doesn't come from planning. It comes from doing. And failure? It's not the enemy. It's part of the path. The Stoics lived with urgency, not anxiety, urgency. They knew that death was not far, that time was not guaranteed, so they acted. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every day, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Not to scare himself, but to stay focused, to live fully, to stop wasting time pretending tomorrow is promised. And you must do the same. Stop waiting for the fear to disappear. It won't. Stop waiting for everything to feel comfortable. It never will. The only way to build courage is to start, even if your hands shake. The only way to build momentum is to take the first step, even if it's small. You don't need to become a new person to begin. You just need to stop delaying. There's no perfect version of you coming to save you. There's no perfect day arriving in the future where everything lines up. That fantasy is how fear tricks you into staying still. That fantasy is how your dream slowly dies. So when that voice inside says, "Let's wait just a little longer," answer it clearly. "No, I've waited long enough." Because this is it. This is the time. This is the version of you that needs to act. Not tomorrow, not later, now. No more excuses, no more delay, no more provisional life. You're not preparing for your life. You're living it, right here, right now, and it's time to move. Number 6, make fear ridiculous, and it loses its grip. Fear has a secret weapon. It takes itself too seriously. It whispers in your mind like it's a voice of truth. It paints dark pictures, dramatic scenes, worst-case scenarios that feel so real you start to believe them. And once you believe them, you freeze, you stop, you avoid, you shrink. But what if you laughed? What if instead of letting fear act like some wise advisor, you exposed it for what it really is, a bad storyteller with a flair for the dramatic? The Stoics had a method for this, and it's simple. Take the thing you're afraid of and parody it. Make it absurd. Drag it into the light. Turn it into a cartoon, a joke, a movie scene that's so over the top it breaks its own spell. You're afraid to fail? Okay, let's look at it. You give a bad presentation. Your slides crash. You stutter. Someone in the back checks their phone. The meeting ends. You go back to your desk. No music plays. No spotlight follows you with shame. Nobody throws tomatoes at you. You don't get thrown out into the street. You don't get chased by villagers with pitchforks. You just move on. That's it. See how ridiculous fear sounds when you zoom in? You're scared to ask for something, a raise, a chance, a yes, and your fear says, don't do it, they might reject you. So parody it. What's the worst they'll do? Gasp dramatically, yell, how dare you, and flip over a desk, call a press conference to announce your failure? No. They'll say no, maybe kindly, maybe not. But that's it. And then life keeps going. Fear hates this because it wants to be treated like a god, like a final judge, like it gets to decide what you do and who you become. But you take that power away when you mock the script. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoics, said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." He wasn't saying fear is silly. He was saying it becomes silly when you face it directly, when you stop letting it live in the shadows, when you stop treating it like prophecy and start treating it like what it really is, exaggeration. Try this next time you feel fear creeping in. Write out the worst-case scenario, but do it like a comedy sketch. Act it out in your head like a scene from a bad soap opera. Picture your failure happening, and then picture what you'd actually do next. Spoiler, you'd survive. That's the point. You're still here. You've failed before. You've stumbled. You've been embarrassed. And you're still breathing, still growing, still standing. Fear wants you to forget that. So remind it. The more seriously you treat fear, the more serious it becomes. But if you mock it, you break its illusion. You take back control. You remember that failure is not death. It's data. It's training. It's part of the path. So from now on, don't run from the worst-case scenario. Drag it into the open. Shine a spotlight on it. Laugh at it if you have to. Say to yourself, oh no, I'll try something and it won't work. And then I'll be human? Exactly. Failure doesn't make you worthless. It makes you real. Embarrassment doesn't make you weak. It makes you visible. Fear doesn't mean stop. It means pay attention. And then keep going anyway. So next time fear shows up with its dramatic voice and heavy tone, smile. Say, nice story, now let's get back to work. That's the power of parody the worst. And it works every time. Number 7, make effort your habit, not outcome your obsession. Think about how most people approach action. They tie it to success. They try once, maybe twice, and if they don't win, they stop. They say, it didn't work, or maybe I'm not meant for this. Why? Because they're obsessed with the result, with validation, with getting it right now. But the Stoics had a better way. They didn't measure their lives by wins. They measured by effort, by repetition, by showing up again and again, no matter the outcome. This is the idea of ritualizing attempts. It means you don't just try when you feel inspired. You don't just move when it feels easy. You build effort into your identity. You make the act of trying, every day, every time, a non-negotiable ritual. It's no longer about whether you succeed or fail. It's about whether you showed up, whether you pushed forward, whether you gave your best in that moment. This is how you kill fear of failure. Not by getting it perfect the first time, but by showing your mind that you'll keep showing up no matter what. Fear fades when effort becomes routine. You want to write? Then write every day, without needing the perfect idea. You want to grow stronger? Then train, even if you don't feel like it. You want to speak up, lead, create, build, then act, again and again, until action is your instinct. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his thoughts so others would praise him. He wrote as a ritual to strengthen his mind. Epictetus didn't lecture to become famous. He taught because it was the right thing to do. They focused on action, the discipline of doing, not on the reward. You must do the same. Make your attempts sacred. Make your effort a ceremony. Make the work your reward. Don't say, "I'll try when I'm ready." Say, "I show up every day because that's who I am." This is the Stoic mindset. You don't wait for the outcome to give you motivation. You don't chase the applause. You don't crumble after one setback. You return. You try again. You ritualize the process. Because repetition builds mastery. Repetition builds resilience. Repetition trains your mind to stay steady even when the world shakes around you. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency. Showing up again and again and again until the act becomes part of you. Don't confuse failure with finality. One failed attempt doesn't mean the path is wrong. It means you are learning. It means you are collecting data. It means you are doing what most people don't have the courage to do. Try. Fear hates repetition. It feeds on hesitation. But once you make effort your habit, fear starts to fade. It loses its grip. Because you no longer care about being perfect, you care about being present. You care about showing up. So ask yourself, what action do I need to repeat today? Then do it, not for results, not for approval, but because this is who you are becoming. And the more you repeat the right action, the more your fear of failing fades away, because deep down you know that no matter what happens, you will be back tomorrow, stronger, clearer, more grounded. Make that your ritual. Make that your life. Number 8. Stop caring about what doesn't matter. You care too much. That's the problem. You care about what they think. You care about how you look. You care if they like your post, if they approve, if they notice. You care so much that it exhausts you. It paralyzes you. It stops you from trying because you're too busy protecting your image instead of building your strength. But what if you didn't? What if you learned to care less, on purpose? The Stoics had a strategy for this. It wasn't coldness. It wasn't numbness. It was discipline. It was tactical indifference, the ability to say, "This doesn't matter, so I will not waste my time, my focus, or my energy on it." That's power. Because not everything deserves your care. Not every opinion needs a response. Not every failure is a crisis. Not every voice is worth your attention. You don't need to stop caring about everything. You just need to stop caring about the things that don't help you grow. You care about doing the work? Good. You care about getting better? Good. You care about living with integrity? Even better. But you do not need to care about gossip. You do not need to care about how loud your critics are. You do not need to care about the things that are outside your control. This is tactical. It's a move. It's focus. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That means you get to decide what you give your mind to, what thoughts you nurture, what reactions you allow. So let go of the rest. Someone doesn't believe in you? Let them. Someone criticizes your progress? Good. Let them talk. You didn't hit your mark today? That's fine. Learn and adjust. None of it changes who you are. The goal here isn't to become careless. It's to become careful. To care only about what moves you forward. To protect your mental energy like it's gold, because it is. When you stop leaking it into every useless thought, you gain clarity, focus, and momentum. Fear feeds off attention. The more you feed it, the more it grows. So starve it. Practice indifference. Shrug. Let things go. Say, "That's not mine to carry." Say, "That doesn't deserve my reaction." Say, "I'm not giving that my energy." And keep moving. This is how you stay steady in the storm. Not because you're numb, but because you're aimed. Because you have something bigger to focus on. Because your mission is more important than someone else's opinion. Start today. When something distracts you, ask, "Does this help me grow?" When fear speaks, ask, "Is this useful?" When the world shouts, ask, "Is this worth my energy?" If the answer is no, let it go. This is tactical indifference, and it's not weakness, it's control, it's mental armor. It's how you stay strong when life throws chaos your way. So don't waste yourself on noise. You have work to do. You have growth to chase. You have fear to conquer. And none of that requires permission from anyone else. Be indifferent to what doesn't matter. Be obsessed with what does. And watch how far you go. Number 9. Clear the weight before it controls you. You've felt it before. That quiet bitterness that lingers after someone wrongs you, doubts you, embarrasses you. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. But it stays. Days later, it echoes. It repeats itself in your mind over and over again. They shouldn't have treated me like that. They don't believe in me. I'll show them. And without noticing, you start making decisions not from strength, but from resentment. This is dangerous, because resentment is a silent poison. It doesn't feel like fear, but it acts just like it. It clouds your thinking. It twists your actions. You no longer create for growth. You act to prove. You no longer move forward with clarity. You react to a ghost of the past. The Stoics warned us about this. They taught that if you don't address your inner anger, it will control you from the shadows. And most people don't even know they're carrying it. They think they're just being driven, just being competitive, just working harder. But deep down, it's not purpose pushing them. It's pain. Unresolved, unspoken pain. That's why this practice matters. Detect resentment echoes. Before you act, pause and ask yourself, where is this energy coming from? Is this about your future or your past? Are you being guided by wisdom or by wounds? Most people don't do this. They let resentment sit. They carry it into every room, every project, every goal. They think they've moved on, but they haven't. They're just dragging the weight with them. Seneca said, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." The same is true of anger. You think it fuels you, but it burns you from the inside out. So, how do you detect the echo? Listen to your thoughts. Pay attention to the tone. When you say, "I'll show them," pause. When you say, "They're going to regret this," pause. When you say, "They never believed in me," pause. That's not purpose talking. That's pain. And your job is not to bury it. Your job is to clear it, not with revenge, not with outbursts, but with awareness, with reflection, with forgiveness, not for them, but for yourself, so you can stop carrying it, so you can move freely again. The goal is not to be unbothered. The goal is to not be bound. You feel it, you understand it, and then you release it. You don't let it echo for days, for months, for years. You quiet it by refusing to build your life around it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that people will lie, betray, insult, and still his job was to stay just, to stay calm, to stay in control of himself. He didn't pretend to enjoy injustice, but he didn't allow it to define him either, and neither should you. So before you chase success, ask yourself, is this movement coming from peace or from poison? Because resentment wears a disguise. It looks like hustle, it looks like drive, but it's hollow, and it will leave you empty. Catch the echo, name it, then let it go. Not because they deserve it, but because you do. You deserve a clear mind, a steady heart, a purpose that isn't tangled in the past. So clear the resentment. Don't carry it into your next decision. Silence the echo and move forward clean. Number 10. Don't trust every feeling in real time. Let's get one thing straight. Not every emotion you feel is true. Not every thought that pops into your head is wise. But here's the mistake we all make. We react to them as if they are. We get one bad feeling and we let it hijack the whole day. One moment of doubt and we throw away our entire plan. One wave of fear and suddenly we're convinced we're not good enough. But what if that feeling was just a delay, a false alarm, a lag? The Stoics understood this. They knew emotions aren't always real-time signals. They're often leftovers from yesterday's stress, last week's failure, or old fears trying to catch up with your current self. That's why you need to practice emotional lag tracking, the discipline of pausing, noticing, and asking, is this feeling about now, or is it just echoing from the past? Here's how it works. You wake up feeling off, no motivation, heavy mood, but nothing actually went wrong yet. No crisis, no setback. Still, you feel slow, stuck. Pause. Don't believe everything you feel. Track it. Ask, where is this coming from? Did I sleep poorly? Was I overwhelmed yesterday? Did something trigger a memory, a fear, a doubt? 9 times out of 10, the emotion you feel right now was created earlier, but if you don't slow down and track it, it'll control you like it's truth. Emotional lag is real. It's like muscle soreness after a hard workout. The pain comes later, but it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're healing. The same goes for your mind. Sometimes your fear today is just your brain still processing a mistake you already fixed. Sometimes your anger today is just stress from something that no longer matters. And if you can see that, if you can create even a small space between the feeling and your reaction, you win. That's the Stoic move. Pause before you respond. Marcus Aurelius practiced this constantly. He wrote to himself, "Today I escaped anxiety," or no, I discarded it. He realized he wasn't escaping a real threat. He was choosing to let go of an emotion that didn't serve him. You can do the same. Next time fear rises, don't panic. Next time self-doubt whispers, don't obey. Next time you feel like quitting, don't trust that feeling right away. Instead, ask, is this from now or is this from before? Is this a signal or just a shadow? Is this helping me or holding me back? When you get good at this, everything changes. You stop reacting blindly. You stop mistaking mood for meaning. You stop letting temporary emotions create permanent regret. You become deliberate, grounded, in control. That's what emotional lag tracking gives you. So write this down, memorize it, repeat it when the storm hits. Feelings are not facts. Pause, track, choose. That's how you stop fear from driving. That's how you lead yourself. That's how you stay on course, no matter how you feel in the moment. Don't let old emotions control your new decisions. Don't let mental noise drown out your purpose. Stay aware, stay steady, stay sharp. You don't need to be emotionless. You just need to stop being led by emotions that are already out of date. Number 11. Sharpen yourself through resistance, not praise. Think about a sword, a real one. Not the kind you hang on a wall, but the kind forged for battle. It's not made in silence. It's made in heat. It's shaped by fire. And most of all, it's tested by pressure, by impact, by resistance. Now think about yourself. You want to grow. You want to get better. You want to become stronger, clearer, sharper. But how do you expect that to happen if you avoid the things that challenge you? If you run from criticism, hide from difficulty, and only do what feels good? The Stoics had a way of seeing life. They believed you only become who you're meant to be when you're tested, truly tested, not praised, not protected, tested. This is the sword test. And here's how it works. Every obstacle you face, every time someone doubts you, every moment that doesn't go your way, that's not proof that you're failing. That's proof you're in training. That's life sharpening you. You don't become resilient by reading about resilience. You become resilient by needing it. You don't develop patience by sitting in peace. You develop it when things go wrong, when plans fall apart, when people push you. That's the test. Most people want to be unshakable, but only as long as nothing shakes them. But you are different. You don't avoid the fire. You step into it. You understand that pressure doesn't break you. It shows you where you need to be stronger. And every time you come out the other side, you're not the same. You're sharper. You're steadier. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action." He wasn't being poetic. He was telling himself how to survive, how to lead, how to stay sane in chaos. He was reminding himself that the hard stuff, the disappointment, the failure, the resistance, is not the enemy. It's the forge. You must learn to see it the same way. When you're criticized, good. That's your chance to build self-control. When your work flops, good. That's your chance to build humility. When nothing goes as planned, good. That's your chance to become flexible, creative, patient. Every time life gets hard, you're being given a blade, and the way you respond determines whether that blade stays dull or becomes a weapon of discipline, courage, and clarity. So stop wishing things were easier. Stop needing applause. Stop chasing comfort. Test yourself. Lean into the moments that push back. That's where the growth is. Not in being admired, in being refined. A sword is made to cut, but only if it's strong enough to take the hammer first. You are no different. So the next time you feel resistance, frustration, challenge, don't ask, Why is this happening to me? Ask, what part of me is being sharpened right now? That shift changes everything, because now you're not just enduring pain, you're using it. You're not just surviving tests, you're passing them with awareness, with purpose, with strength. And one day, when someone asks how you became so clear, so steady, so sharp, you'll smile and say, I passed the sword test. Number 12. Know what truly matters and cut the rest. Why are you really afraid to fail? Is it the failure itself, or what you think it says about you? Is it the result, or the imagined shame, the judgment, the fear that maybe, just maybe, you're not enough? Here's the truth. Fear of failure often means your values are out of order. You've built your life on the wrong priorities. You've placed image above growth, comfort above purpose, praise above effort. And the worst part? You probably didn't even notice it. That's why you need to do a value pyramid audit. The Stoics believed that the foundation of your life, what you really value, determines how you handle pressure, fear, failure, and success. If your pyramid is built upside down, with shallow things at the top and the deep stuff buried at the bottom, it will collapse the moment life gets hard. So take a hard look at your pyramid. At the bottom should be discipline, integrity, effort, courage, wisdom, unshakable values. But if at the bottom you've got status, fame, validation, likes, money, comfort, then failure will destroy you because you've built your identity on things you don't control. Seneca said, "He is a great man who uses earthenware dishes as if they were silver, and silver as if it were earthenware." What does that mean? It means don't place more value on things than they deserve. Don't worship what is temporary. Don't fear losing what's shallow. Audit your values ruthlessly. Ask yourself, if I lost everything visible, would I still be someone I respect? If no one clapped, would I still show up? If I failed publicly, would I still stand tall knowing I lived with principle? If the answer is no, it's time to rebuild. A strong value pyramid puts virtue first. It says, I value doing the right thing over looking good. I value effort over results. I value showing up over showing off. I value growth, even if it's messy, slow, and silent. This mindset makes you fearless, because when you value the right things, failure loses its power. You didn't get the promotion? Fine, you gave your best. You launched something and no one noticed? Fine, you learned. You tried, fell short, and people laughed? Fine, you stayed true to yourself. That's what matters. That's what lasts. So, do the audit. Write your values down. Rank them. Be honest. What do you claim to care about? What do your actions show you really care about? And if they don't match, fix it. Flip the pyramid. Build on the solid ground. Every time fear rises, it's a test of values. Do you value peace or approval? Do you value mastery or attention? Do you value being useful or being liked? Only one set makes you unshakable. So, here's your new daily question. What do I truly value, and is that showing up in how I live? Ask it often. Ask it when you succeed. Ask it when you fail. Because when your pyramid is solid, failure won't break you. It'll build you. And that's the Stoic way. Number 13. Break the story that's been holding you back. You've failed before. You've hesitated. You've quit. You've backed away from opportunities. And now a quiet story follows you wherever you go. A voice in your head says, "You always do this. You're not the type to finish." Remember the last time? That voice, that story, isn't just memory. It's precedent, a pattern your mind has accepted as truth. And every time you try to grow, to act, to change, it drags that precedent into the present and holds you back. But the Stoics had an answer for this. They believed that you are not chained to your past. They believed that today is a new battle, and you are not the same soldier. They believed that identity is not built on what you were, but on what you choose to do now. This is precedent dismantling, the act of breaking the old narrative, destroying the mental chain that says your past failures define your future. It's not about pretending the past didn't happen. It's about refusing to live under its shadow. Just because you gave up once doesn't mean you're a quitter. Just because you panicked last time doesn't mean you're weak. Just because you failed before doesn't mean you will again. That was then. This is now. And the only thing keeping the old story alive is you repeating it. You're not here to relive your past. You're here to break through it. Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." He didn't say the end defines you. He said it frees you. The past ends. The moment changes. And you, if you choose, can be someone different in this moment. But you must act. You must dismantle the old script, not just with words, but with action. Don't wait until you feel like a new person. Start acting like one. Don't wait until you forget the past. Start writing a new one. The mind loves patterns. It finds comfort in what is familiar, even if that familiar thing is failure. But you can disrupt the pattern. You can interrupt the mental loop that says, "This is just how I am," and replace it with, "This is who I'm becoming." It starts with a decision. When you're about to give in, remind yourself, "That was the old me. I'm not doing that anymore." When you hear the voice of doubt, answer back, "That story ends here." When fear says, "You've failed before," respond, "And I'm still standing, which means I can try again." This is what Stoics did. They examined their own thoughts. They questioned the patterns. They didn't just live by instinct, they lived by intention. So whatever you've done before, let it go. Not with denial, but with clarity. You're not bound by your past unless you choose to be. You don't have to earn a new identity. You claim it. You practice it. You repeat it until the old story fades. Precedent is a trap until you turn it into proof. Proof that you're still here. Proof that you're ready to rewrite everything. So ask yourself, what old story do I need to break today? Then take one action that proves that story wrong. That's how you dismantle precedent. That's how you take back control. That's how you become someone new, one decision at a time. Number 14. See your life with new eyes before it's too late. We move through life like it's guaranteed, like tomorrow is promised, like health, freedom, time, and strength are permanent. We complain about the little things. We stress over what we don't have. We fear failing because we forget how lucky we are to even try. The Stoics had a way to snap out of that blindness. It's called the cripple's eye perspective. And it means this: see your life the way someone with far less would see it. See your body, your breath, your chance as blessings, not burdens, because one day they won't be here. Imagine this: you can walk, but imagine how precious every step would be if you'd once been unable. You can speak, but imagine how carefully you'd choose your words if you once couldn't. You can fail, but imagine how grateful you'd be to even try if you were stuck in a body that never let you move. This is not guilt. It's clarity. It's remembering what most people forget until it's gone. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He wasn't trying to scare himself. He was reminding himself every day of the miracle of now, the miracle of capacity, the miracle of choice. Because once you see your life through the eyes of someone who can't, you stop wasting it with fear. You're afraid to fail. Someone out there is praying for the chance to try and fail because they can't even begin. You're scared of judgment? Someone out there has no voice, no audience, no platform, and they still find peace. You want to quit because it's hard. Someone would trade their hardest day for your worst one, just to stand, just to speak, just to act. So pause, look again, strip away the noise. What you have is rare, precious, borrowed, and you honor it by using it fully. This is the cripple's eye perspective, to see life the way the suffering would see it, so you don't take it for granted. It's not about pity, it's about presence. Look at your hands. You can build, you can create. Look at your legs. You can move, you can climb. Look at your mind. You can learn, you can grow, you can decide. So, what are you doing with that gift? Are you using your strength to run toward your purpose? Or are you letting fear talk you into hiding? Are you using your time to create something meaningful? Or are you wasting it worrying about opinions that will fade in hours? Imagine for one moment that it was all taken away. The voice, the motion, the freedom, the time. What would you wish you had done when you still could? That's what you must do now. This perspective is your weapon against fear, because fear loses power when gratitude rises, because you don't fear failing when you're too focused on the gift of trying. So when you're scared, pause. Look at your life through the cripple's eye and say, "I still can, so I will." That's how you move forward, with perspective, with urgency, with deep, grounded strength, because you've seen what most people ignore. And now, there's no going back. Number 15. Break fear apart until nothing is left. Fear feels big. It feels solid, unshakable, like a wall you can't climb over. But what if that wall isn't real? What if fear only pretends to be strong because you never stop to question it? That's what the Stoics understood. They knew that most fear isn't based on truth. It's based on assumption, on vague emotional predictions about the future. And because we never slow down to inspect those predictions, fear controls us. It wins by default. That's why you need a method, a mental technique to destroy fear at its roots. This is called the logical collapse sequence. Here's how it works. You take the fear in your mind and you break it down, piece by piece, until it falls apart under the weight of reason. It starts with a question. What am I really afraid of? Say it clearly. Define it. Most people don't. They keep fear blurry because a blurry fear feels overwhelming. But when you name it, when you drag it into the light, something changes. It shrinks. Then ask, if that happens, then what? Go deeper. If I fail the presentation, then what? I'll be embarrassed. Okay, then what? People might talk. Then what? They'll forget in a week. Exactly. You keep going, step by step, layer by layer, until the emotion collapses under logic. You'll find that most of your fear leads nowhere. Most of your worst-case scenarios end in discomfort, not destruction. Most of your imagined disasters are just that, imagined. Epictetus said, "It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." This is what he meant. Fear is not the event. Fear is the story you tell yourself about the event. So change the story, interrogate the story, pull it apart like a scientist. Ask, is this likely? Is this permanent? Has this happened before, and did I survive? Is this fear helping me or just freezing me? Fear wants you to believe it's final, that if you fail, everything ends. But logic reminds you, most of the time, failure is just a step, just data, just part of the process. The logical collapse. Sequence isn't about being fearless. It's about being honest. It's about stripping away the drama and getting to the truth. Because once you realize your fear is built on shaky ground, you stop being controlled by it. You don't need to feel brave. You just need to see clearly and then move. That's the Stoic way. To stand in front of fear, not with blind confidence, but with clarity, calm, reason, strength that comes not from hype, but from honesty. So the next time fear grabs your chest, don't run, don't react. Pause, breathe, ask the first question. What am I really afraid of? Then walk the sequence, pull it apart. Keep asking until the fear crumbles, until it loses its mystery, until it loses its power. And then, step forward, quiet, controlled, clear. Because when fear collapses, courage takes its place. Number 16. Stop letting a feeling make your decisions. You messed up, you failed, you weren't ready, you slipped, fell, or got rejected. And now comes the worst part. Not the failure itself, but the shame that follows. That burning feeling in your chest, the voice in your head saying, "You're not good enough." But here's the truth. That voice isn't wise. It's not a teacher. It's not even accurate. It's just bad logic. The Stoics knew something most people forget. Shame is not proof. It's not truth. It's just an emotion, a signal. And sometimes that signal is completely wrong, misfired, out of date, driven by ego or by other people's expectations. That's why you must learn to see shame not as a sign to stop, but as a sign to question. Because here's what shame really says. I failed, therefore I am a failure. I was embarrassed, therefore I am embarrassing. I was judged, therefore I deserve that judgment. See the pattern? It's broken logic. It takes one moment and turns it into a full identity. And that lie is what holds you back, not the failure, the lie about what it means. You must break that link. You failed? So what? That's data, that's experience, that's part of learning. You looked foolish? Welcome to growth. Everyone who tries looks foolish at some point. You felt judged? Good. That means you were visible. You showed up.